Hey there, happy Friday. Thanks for joining me here tonight. All right, we are going to be finishing our little vintage sewing machine tonight. We'll be taking off the stick and stitch stabilizer as well for this one and the one that we completed a little earlier. So thanks for joining me here, guys. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So again, tonight I will be finishing this up. We're pretty near done. We have one more color to go. We'll be doing the chain stitch today. I'll show you how to do that. And some more back stitch. But that is the plan for today. And then I also have my warm water here. Hopefully it's still warm by the time we get there, but we'll be taking off that stick and stitch sticker. And that's what we printed the design on. So we'll be doing that today as well. I do want to stitch the dates of this in as well. So we'll draw that on with a water soluble marker. All right, and I got my sewing machine t-shirt on today as well that we have up in the shop. So I just really like it. So all right, guys, let's get going. All right. Here we are. So these are the two fellers. I'm going to get down right in here right away. So I do have my water buckets, basically, my bowls of water here ready to go, but we're going to finish this up first. So rolling up the sleeves. Let's see where we left off. So this guy's done. Here we finished all the gray and we started the gold. I think we're going to start right with our single, well, I'm going to do these three little stitches first, and I'll tell you why, but then we're going to do these single chain stitches, and you guys, I just totally saw, I think I missed another little line on here. Ah, goodness, I missed a line on this one. I had to go back and stitch that one teeny tiny line, and you know what, I'm just seeing right now that I missed another line on here. And I don't have my iPad open to see what color it is. I suspect it's gray, so I'm going to go back right now and stitch one tiny stitch of gray. How annoying is that? I do have a little scrap of gray here, so let's just get that done quick. One little stitch, how annoying! Alright, so we're going to get that stitch done. And then I will jump and do those lazy daisy stitches or single chain stitches, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So thanks all for joining me again here. Okay, I'm doing that loop method again that we've been working on these past few days. So I'm just going to make that single little stitch. There we are. Catch the loop in the back here. And that's it. I'm going to weave in the end, and that's it for my little single stitch that I did not do. All right, so next week is going to be our first free week of the year. So what that means is we're going to have the whole week kind of open. So all the other weeks, the first through third week, we kind of have a plan, right? So right now we're in week 3. It's the Embroidery of the Month week. Next week is going to be our free week, and I think I'm going to be doing some giveaways and stuff next week. So you'll want to tune in for sure. All right, I'm looking at these little scraps, and they're all like little baby scraps. They're like not very usable. So I'm gonna start fresh. Let's just cut a new piece here. New piece of gold, the goldenrod color. But yeah, so if there's something specific you want to work on, let me know. I'm actually kind of thinking it'd be fun to try that circle, like sewing the circle within the bigger circle, so it looks like an applique circle on a block, but it's really actually sewn in. We talked about that, I don't know, last week maybe, and that would be fun to do. I don't know, just a pillow cover or something. we could do a pillow cover from beginning to end, and it could be just like that nice graphic circle in the middle. That'd be kind of cool. It'd actually be kind of cool to split that circle in half and have like, almost like two half circles within a bigger piece. No, I'm just designing out loud. But yeah, so that would be fun to do. It's kind of our chance to do, other smaller projects or work on some unfinished project. Oh, so Gretchen, we did not finish the Aurifil block of the month. That was last year's thing that we did the 4th week of the month. We did not finish that, actually, so that is hanging out as an unfinished project. We have the blocks are all done, but I haven't done anything beyond the blocks. So we got some decisions there for sure. So that's something that we could be working on too when we have a Finish It Friday, which is the first Friday of the month. We work on an unfinished project. Or these days, these last weeks, that would be kind of nice too. Ooh, that sounds nice. That's a good idea. Sylvia's suggesting a cloth box with a decorated side. Ooh, that'd be kind of pretty. We could try doing one of those bowls. Oh, I have one near me, actually. I keep my scraps in it. But this has been popular lately, like making these kind of rope bowls that are wrapped around like cord. We could do something like that. There's an opportunity to just work on some unfinished projects and just have a little bit of fun doing that. So I'm just stitching these first 3 lines here. Because it seemed like a good place to start, but then I'm going to move on to these chain stitches. And sometimes I will actually have a plan for the 4th week of the month. So we will have actually some planned smaller projects that I'll let you guys know about beforehand. But this week is going to be our first kind of free week, so we can just kind of play around a little bit. Maybe I do want to work on that pillow, or not, it doesn't need to be a pillow, but that circle. It's actually going to look like a lot like this. It'll be a circle within a square, but this would be like a pretty piece of fabric. That was something we talked about maybe giving a go, and I'd like to do that for sure. So maybe we start that on Monday, and I think we'll have time for some more stuff. So we could do a rope bowl too. We could do both. That would be kind of fun. So I'll kind of let you know what you'll need for that project, because you do need some kind of like cotton rope sort of stuff. And I can show you what I mean by that next week. So, all right, so we are going to tackle now these lazy daisy stitches. So I'm kind of interchangeably using the term lazy daisy stitch and chain stitch. And it's really a single chain stitch or a detached chain stitch is sometimes what they're called. And we've done a chain stitch before, but it's been all in a row. And I don't think I have an example nearby showing that. So when you say a detached chain stitch, it means like one that's not in a row of chain stitches. So all it is we're going to come up at this point. It's also called a lazy daisy when it's like a bunch of them in a circle around a point. Then it kind of looks like a flower. So this is kind of like a heart is sort of like a lazy daisy stitch, or just 2 single or detached, same difference, chain stitches that all come to a point right here. So here's going to be 1 chain stitch, and here's going to be the second chain stitch. So I'm coming up right at the point. This is the first chain stitch I'm going to do. I'm going to make my thread kind of like an arc that's mimicking the arc of that stitch there. So you can see that this is kind of going on the outside of this right here. And then I'm going to go right back into the same hole. And before I get too far, I'm going to come up at kind of like the apex of the loop. And you can see the needle is actually like in the middle of this circle of fabric here. So I'm going to pull up there, and this thread that's coming out of the fabric now is going to block. So I'm going to go real slow here. It's going to block that loop from, you know, pulling all the way through the fabric here, and that's our stitch. And we want to leave these loose. So there's a nice loose stitch. You can see, or we call them lazy, you know, like a lazy daisy. You want to keep your stitches lazy, and that's what will make it keep that nice arched shape. So if I pull tight, which is kind of, you know, what your kind of tendency wants to do, you want to pull something tight, your stitches tight. If I pull this tight, then you can see it gets tense, right? So now it actually looks like two straight stitches next to each other. You've completely lost the like little bloop shape to it. So that's you're not lazy enough if that's what your stitches are looking like. So I'm just gonna kind of pull this out again and get it slack again. There we go. And I'm gonna leave it lazy this time. So just like that. And the last part of this stitch is we gotta tack down this loop. So I'm going right on the other side of the loop, not in the same hole, but you know, a couple threads away, right on the other side, and we're just tacking it down with that tiny, tiny stitch. It's called like an anchor stitch. We're anchoring down that loop. So there you go. So that is our first chain stitch, our first single chain stitch, and I'm going to do the next one right here, and that I'm going to go start at the bottom point again. I'm going to make my kind of loop around that shape. I'm going to go back in the same hole, then come up within that loop at the top of that top arch of my chain stitch. And then we're going to pull through, and I'm going to keep it lazy. There we go. That still looks good. And then do our little anchor stitch on the other side. All right, so with those two chain stitches, we got our first little heart here. Oh, Colleen, you are right. Colleen says, Alyssa, you need a zigzag for the bowl. You are absolutely correct. I have no working machine right now that does a zigzag. See, it's time to hunker down. Gosh, maybe this weekend I'm going to have to just carve some time for that. I'm going to have to fix that machine. So that machine, okay, first of all, you gotta move, Mr. Cloud. You're in my way. But the sewing machine that does the zigzag, that's the one where my feed dogs don't grab the fabric because they keep getting pushed down. So there's something wrong with it. I gotta figure that machine out, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. Ugh, I don't know if I will be able to do that either, because I have spent time with it. Boo! Okay, yeah, so might not be doing the rug or the rope bowls, the fabric bowls, but we could do some other stuff. Dang it, that's a good catch. You're right. That is a reason to get that done and figured out. So all I have is a straight stitch and free motion. That's what I can do. We have lots of quilts at this point that need to be free motion quilted too, so we could maybe do some prep and thinking through those as well. That middle heart is awfully cute there. Alright, so we are on our last two chain stitches here. Then I got those three little lines, and then I'm going to jump up and do the sides. Ooh, I don't think I went in the same hole there. I'm going to actually redo that. It was close, but not quite. There we go. But I'm going to do the two sides of the spool here. And then we got to do the single strand where we're going to thread the whole thing. I would still like to put the dates on. So hopefully there's enough time to do that, plus take off the stick and stitch stabilizer. I think we can do it. Those cute little hearts are done, little chain stitches. Alright, and I'm going to just jump up here. We're going to do this in like 2 stitches. I know, Patty. Patty says, I know you love your vintage machines, Alyssa, but you should gift yourself a new machine with lots of bells and whistles. That's a someday list. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It would be good to do that. I feel like that would take a pile of research. And right now, what I got sort of working, although now it's not, is it? One thing that a new machine would have that I think I would use quite a bit is the blanket stitch, where it kind of mimics a blanket stitch onto applique. I feel like that I would use a lot, because I don't have, none of my vintage machines can do that. My one machine, the one that isn't working very well, that one has a few stitches, but they're like, dressmakers and tailor type stitches, not any decorative stitches. So I do have that 60s Kenmore sewing machine that I haven't really used at all. That's the one that I needed to, when I wanted the cabinet for my black sewing machine, or the Kenmore, this one. I had to get the sewing machine that came in the cabinet. I did. That was that 60s Kenmore. It's so heavy. But that one, I do have cams for decorative stitches that we can put in the top. So really, we could kind of do the bowl, a fabric bowl with that. I just wouldn't have, it wouldn't be done with a zigzag stitch, because I don't have the zigzag cam. Those are apparently really hard to find. Really hard to find for those old machines. But it has some decorative cams, so we could do instead of a zigzag, it could be just like a decorative stitch that kind of goes back and forth. That might be an option. That'd be kind of fun to pull that out again. But I'd rather just kind of fix my other machine, if that's possible. I am kind of, if I can't fix it, then I'm definitely on the hunt for a new repair guy, because the other one moved, and I don't know. I haven't been really liking them lately, so that's always a bummer when you gotta find a new person for that sort of stuff. Alright. Oh wait, I don't need to double this up this time. I want my single thread, and actually this is way too much thread, so I'm going to cut this in half. We just need our single thread to thread this sewing machine. Alright, I'm going to weave in the ends here. Can't do the loop method this time because I have just a single strand, not the 2 strands. Alright, I'm going to first get these little guys on the spool. So I think that's what we'll do. Monday we will do that round circle thing, and maybe actually I'll do it with an embroidery on the inside. I think that would be a fun way to do it. So I'll do like one of my embroidery kits. I'll take the inside, make it into a circle. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that part yet, making these circles, but I suppose I can just make a template on the computer and print it out. I can provide that to you guys too. And then yeah, then that would be a cute way to frame up a embroidery without having to do applique. Oh, that's a good suggestion. Pamela's saying, is there a sewing repair shop by my mother's? I have no idea, but that would be a good place to look as an alternative to one by me here. All right, we are going to thread this machine as if we're really threading this machine, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to go, this is the first bit right here, cuts all the way across here. So now in the last one, I went down here and I came back up, but instead this time, so I can just kind of stay in the same spot, I'm going to loop it around a couple of my stitches in back here, because I'm kind of going to go in a similar hole there, and this will kind of block my thread from going through. We're kind of just looping it around the back there, and then I'm going to keep going along the path here. So about right there. All right, then it wraps around the tension dial here. So this is all happening on the side here. On this one here, it's all on the front of the machine. Okay, so then we come out of the tension. Then we get hooked up around this French knot. All right, I need to come from this French knot down to like right here. So again, I'm going to kind of maybe loop around some of these threads in back so I don't accidentally pull my thread through. Then we can kind of come through that same spot. I think we'll go on the other side, kind of like right there. It feels like you're actually threading this, which is kind of fun. All right, so it goes through like a little hook and eye thing here. And then it goes straight down after that, and I'm going to, since I'm coming up through the same spot again, I'm going to kind of loop around stitches in the back again. And now I'm going to come up in that same spot. All right, and then it's going to go down to here. All right, we have a threaded machine. Let's finish up these, the bobbin and the top thread here. I'm just going to do like a couple of kind of big back stitches. They're both underneath the feed or underneath the presser foot there. I think we'll do 3 stitches just so I can get that little curve at the end. Okay, and then same down here. Then we can weave in this end and we will be done. So I think taking off the stick and stitch will take about 20 minutes or so. So I think, oh man, stitching the numbers on here might actually take a little bit of time. Well, let's do one and see how it goes. So there we go, we got that one. Maybe I'll put the numbers on my main machine here, and we'll do this one second if we have time. Because like I said, I do want to take the stick and stitch off tonight. Actually, since this is still in the hoop, I might as well start with this one. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to move my little cloud again. We're going to just shimmy him up over there. All right, so I want to put, well, first of all, we are done stitching. But I want to put the little date in here. So I have my marker here. That would be awesome, Noeline. Machine sponsor. That I don't think that's actually how it works all the time with the machine sponsors, though. A lot of times, I think you pay for it, and then you just get like, I don't know, a commission if you sell them to people or something. It's not always like a magic free machine, but that would be amazing. I'd play around with someone's free fancy machine, that's for sure. All right, so this one was from 1927, so I'm going to just kind of jot that down here. Luckily, with the water-soluble marker, it's going to go away. So if I, like, rewrite it or have to do it, I'm going to actually write the 1927. Let me double check. Yep, 1927. I'm going to kind of put the 2-7 just to kind of place it. 2-7. That's crazy. 1927. All right, doing 9. You could write this out on paper too if you wanted to do something like this. Then you could play around with like your font. Like maybe I want this 9 to be like one of those curvy 9s. That kind of looks like an old school 9 with it being kind of curvy. All right, I like that. We're gonna do that over here too. So this is 1938. So I'm gonna write the 30. Ugh, an 8's going to be annoying to stitch, so a lot of curves. So here's my 3. Let's just do 2 circles for the 8. I think I might, yeah, I'll stitch it with 2 strands yet. Okay, so now let's do that curvy 9 again. And we'll just do a straight down one just to get it done. All right, that's going to be cute. Man, the numbers barely fit in this one because there's such a small like neck or such a small window in that one compared to this one. That one's a little tighter. All right, I think I want to stitch it with the orange on both of them. So I'm going to grab that. This is the California Poppy color. Oh, I have a little bit hanging out here. I think I'm going to start with the big, long, fresh piece, though. Oh, that's nice, Robin. Yep, I'd play around with one. All right. Someone's got to write them. Got to be like, I watch Alyssa every night, and she's really struggling without her new machine. You guys should give her a new machine. There we go. That's our game plan. All right. I'm doing that double up method again just because it's so fast to get started, and we're going for speed at this point to get these numbers stitched. And I think I'm going to go with just like big long stitches in general. Well, these curves I won't be able to, but yeah, should I do the 1 and the 7 with one big stitch? I think we're gonna. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go down here. Normally I would maybe do that 2 stitches, but I think just to get that idea of that nice kind of bold 1 line, I'm just going to have it be 1 longer stitch. And we have other kind of long stitches in this piece, so I think that's fine. So I'm going to kind of edit this as I go because I did do that 1 a little high, so I'm going to kind of start at the same spot. So a little off of my stitching, but there, I'm trying to get that angle of the 9. I kind of want it to curve up a little bit, so we'll go like here. Definitely recommend that you could draw this out first and then trace it on. That would have been good. Then you could practice different pictures and stuff. Oh, so Gretchen's asking about the Aurifil. So the does she asked, do the Aurifil designers create a finishing pattern, or do we do it on our own? So I think that's on our own. So Pat Sloan said that she was going to get one together, but I don't think she's done yet or something. So she's going to have nice, Noeline. Uh, exactly. Noeline wrote the letter that all you guys can send to all those sewing machine places. But no, so the designers aren't making a setting for the Aurifil project. I think what's happening is all of our designs that we did, Pat Sloan has those, and she's going to be stitching them all together, and she's going to have a suggestion of a setting, and I think she's going to be sharing that with us. I know she did kind of like a sneak peek or something. So that will be an option, but we can do whatever we want. So something we should definitely talk about and think through. Maybe we can. Maybe that can be part of next week a little bit. We can make some decisions, because even making a decision on what our game plan is next, like we could draw it out, we could think it through. Even that is, time well spent on a project. So then we can have a little drawing, for the next time that we work on it at least. So that'd be kind of fun. Okay, I'm really, really liking how this 9 turned out. It does look kind of old school. It's kind of pretty. I like it. Do the 2 in one big long stitch. And this isn't taking as long as I was thinking either, so that's nice. And the 7 is just going to be 2 big stitches as well. So I think this actually turned out really nice. 1927. I like it a lot. It was a good idea, Lynn. Lynn suggested this in the Facebook group, and she did hers with these dates on too, and I just think it's turned out so cute. Yep, you never know. That's funny, Nolan. That'd be cool. Alright, so there we are, 1927. Oh, I love it so much with the date. Okay, I think it's going to hang right by my machine. I was thinking about, I was talking about how this machine's kind of upstairs in like kind of an unused hallway, and it's just kind of there. Someday it'll have like its place of pride or whatever in the house, but right now it's just sitting there. And I was thinking, man, I should clean this hallway up a little bit. So I've been trying to do like one reorganizing sort of cleaning thing, even if it's just like a drawer, like, or even less than a drawer, if it's just like one, 3-inch area. If it was messy and it makes me feel better that it's not anymore, then that's what I'm talking about. But maybe I was thinking I'd maybe attend to that hallway a little bit and make it a nicer place where I could actually sit down and use this machine. So that might, now after I got this done, that might be what I do, because this would be so cute hanging there. All right, I'm going to take this out of the hoop, and I'm going to get this guy back in quick to stitch him up too. And I'm going to try and do that 9. This is right. Like I'm super paranoid now. So, okay, 1927 and 1938. Yeah, they were that far apart. Man, it's rare when you write down the year 1927, so it's like freaking me out. It's feeling wrong and weird. All right, cute. All right, loving it. Let's get this guy done. Alright, let's give this a try too. Now this is a smaller space and I don't want to feel like it's completely crowded in there. I'm kind of tempted to redraw it, but I also don't want it too far to the left because it's kind of nice like right over the heart. I think we'll just leave it as is and try and stitch it as is there. Hey Gigi from Montreal. Oh, Luann, I'm over on Facebook. Oh, you guys, you know what? I don't think I shared it in the group. So on Facebook, so that might be why you couldn't find me on Facebook. So I'm technically on Facebook on the Penguin and Fish page, and then it's shared into the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. So it's not always shared. I'm going to start with a new fresh piece again, just so I can do that loop method again and have it long enough. So it's not always shared. So if you want to stick to Facebook, then make sure to look on the actual Penguin and Fish page, like proper. Like the main page is what I'm saying, not the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, although I do sometimes share it to there. But on that note, I am going to be doing some... I want to do a giveaway next week. I'll probably do it Monday. So I think Monday I'm going to do like a little fun giveaway. It'll be kind of like, if you share, then you'll be entered, sort of thing, and we'll figure out the winner hopefully by the end. Or, you know, if there's lots of shares, we might do more than one giveaway. We might give away, you know, a couple things. So in that case, you will probably want to be on the main Facebook page, not the group, because I don't think you can always share, because it's a private group, so I'm not sure you can always share outside of the group. But if you're on the main page, then you should be able to share. So just keep that in mind. We're going to be doing some giveaway stuff, and I think you might want to be on the main Facebook for that. Okay, so I am going to get this one in. I'm kind of paying attention to this one because I want it to look like that. Okay, just looping in that back. Oh yeah, I forgot. I had that big loop on this one. Ugh, that annoys me. Alright, let's do this fun 9 again. So I kind of raised up where it starts a little bit, didn't I? Let's go like right there. Alright, ooh, I'm kind of doing this a little bit different, but I'm holding this a little bit to just kind of get like just the right angle that I want for the 9 to get that curve up, and I think right there will be my first kind of angle to get that curvy 9. How did I do that last time? Okay. It's not going to be exact. Further over. There we are. Yay, I'm glad we're doing this, and there'll be still plenty of time, I think, to take off the stitch and stitch. Ooh, and my water is even, or the bowl at least, is still a little warm too. So to take the stick and stitch off, I think it makes an actual difference and how well it comes off with the temperature of the water. So we've done it in cold water a lot and stuff, but when you do it in warm water, so in theory you should do it in warm water. You can run it under the sink to do that, or fill up a warm bowl, but I think it comes off a little bit faster in warm water. However, these bowls of water have been sitting around here for the past 40 minutes, so it might not be quite as warm, and it might be actually cold. But it'll still work in cold water. I don't think it activates it as quite as fast. Let's do... I think I'm going to do the... I'm thinking, should I do the curve bottom part of this 3, or should I do the top? I think I'm going to do the top first. But yeah, I'm hoping it's a little warm yet, because it goes a little faster. I'm doing one of those 3s where it's straight, like a straight angle top, and then the curvy bottom. Kind of like those 3s. I think I learned about those 3s in, like, I don't know, high school or something, and I used them for a little while, and always felt fancy using these kind of pointy 3s with the curvy bottom. Oh, that makes sense. So Noeline says that the warm water melts down the glue. Well, that makes total sense. So it does work in cold water. It does still dissolve and stuff, but yeah, it's noticeably quicker, I think, in the warm, and that would make sense. Breaks it down a little, melts it a little faster. I like that reasoning. All right, so there's our 3. Now we got that bugger of an 8 here. Trying to think what would be a nice 8. So here's how a lot of type is figured out. If you're a type designer, you got to ask yourself, okay, well, how do I want to do this 8? I could do like an X in the middle with bloops, or I could have it be more rounded. So what you want to do is kind of look at what some of your other shapes are. Well, these 8s are probably a lot like this 9, like this top shade. It's probably like this twice, and now this is looking awfully flat in the middle. So what I think I might do is start with kind of a flat piece in the middle here. Instead of an X to make like a skinny sort of 8, I think I'm going to do kind of a flat stitch across. Then it'll be kind of like that 9. And then we'll do like a little hexagon going above it. We'll see. We'll see. A little pointy top, maybe that's how that 9 is. Oh, I don't want it so tall though, so let's try and keep it within the same height as the other guys. Kind of making like a little pentagon, a top and bottom pentagon. Maybe we'll, yeah, I don't know. This is working, I think. Oh, someone asked earlier, like, does Kenmore still make sewing machines, or do they still exist yet? I think someone mentioned here once before, and let me know if you're here, that Kenmore became like a different company or something, and that maybe still exists, but they're not. I mean, I don't know. It was a recognizable company, but not Kenmore. Is that right? Oh, that's okay. That's what I have in my head. So Noeline says it. So Kenmore machines used to be made by Janome. So maybe that's the case. All right, that makes sense. That's what was in my head. So interesting. So I wonder. I have not sewn on a Janome before, so I'm curious if they are in any way. I mean, I don't know. Any modern day machine is not going to be like a vintage one, but I wonder if there's any hint of any of that in there at all. I mean, I don't even know what I would look for, but I guess I'd be curious. Now I want to research Janome a little bit more. All right, I'm liking this 8. I do like how it came out. Normally I wouldn't have made it like this with like kind of that flat stitch in the middle, but because the 9 was so flat here, I kind of went with it, and I think that was the way to go. We made some nice kind of little bloops there. I do kind of wish it was tished over a little bit, but yeah, I'm not worrying about that. Let's weave in the end, and we are done for real with the stitching. I am really happy about putting those dates in. If you are doing kind of a portrait of your own machine, I would suggest putting the dates in too. It feels so happy and special with them in there. Oh, I'm like, what did I do with my needle minder? I didn't put it back on, so my needle's just going to be stored on that needle minder for now. All right, let's take these out of the I was going to say, let's take these out of the machine. Let's take these machines out of the hoop. Not the hoop out of the machine. All right. Let's move on to taking off our stick and stitch. So this is the best part. It's so nice to do that. Oh, yeah, and Noretta says Kenmore is the store brand name for Sears. So what's interesting, too, and I'm going to have to do some more research on this, but the Kenmores were the same as a bunch of other machines. So I think, I don't know, is white the same as Kenmore? White is a kind of an old brand name. How it used to be is like only a couple places made the sewing machine, and then they put all these other names on. So like they put the name Singer on it, and then they also put like some other name on, and or like I'm gonna get up a little higher here. Yeah, so like White and Kenmore, it'd be the same machine, but they put a different logo on, and then it's considered a different machine. So there's a lot of that going on back in the day. All right, I'm just grabbing here my 2 little bowls of water here, sliding them over. They are a little warm yet, which is awesome. They were piping hot when I put them in here earlier, with the hope that they would be still warm. I also have the other thing that I need is a fluffy towel. I'm going to use this, like a terry cloth towel. I'm going to use this to press later, but I'm also going to put any drizzles on there. So I have 2 bowls here. Again, you can just do this right over a sink, but I'm going to do it in 2 separate bowls. One bowl is just to get things going and get as much off as I can, and the other is just like a final kind of rinse. So I'm going to let this one be my rinse one, and I'm going to let this one just go in there. And actually, you know what? I'm going to might just have that guy sit in the bottom while I do the second one at the same time. So it's definitely nice and warm yet. So I'm submerging the whole thing. We're getting this whole thing wet, and look, immediately you can see all the excess kind of flop off. Do you see that kind of starting to flake off here? And it's happening right away. I think that's a lot. That's a lot due to the warm water. So be very careful doing this though, because we do have these long stitches, right? We'll kind of fix those up a little bit when we're done pressing it. But here you can see all the flakes on there, and some of those flakes I'm guessing are from down here too. So this is going to get messy real quick. So the big stuff will kind of get off right away, but then you really do want to take your time. This is definitely a take your time thing, and brush your fingers over every single stitch. You're kind of agitating gently every single stitch because you want to loosen up that stick and stitch from underneath. So stick and stitch is a great way to start a design. First of all, it stabilizes your fabric a little bit. You can just print right to it, so you can skip the tracing and get started right away. But here's the trade-off. The trade-off is you do have to do this process that takes a little bit of time. All right, and I want to get that all of our satin stitches here. Got a lot up in the middle. So I think I kind of got the bottom area a bit. So I'm working my way up. And we are going to have to take our time here a little bit. So this is where we can just chill. Oh, Darlene got her cordless iron yesterday. You're so happy with it. Ugh, isn't it like the freaking best? I love it so much. And that I just started heating it up, so we're going to be using that today again. Definitely in my top 5 items that I love the most in my little sewing crafting area here is my cordless iron. I'd be really, really sad to not have that anymore. Not having a cord was really a game changer. Not having that cord just like flop around in your space the whole time. It's so much nicer without. All right, I think we did a pretty good job here. I probably could do a little bit more within this space here. When it dries, you won't see it as much if there's any like residue left over, but you don't really want this on your iron, so you do kind of want to make sure it's all off. Okay, that looks a little bit better. You can see all the little blobs of it though around the edge of my fabric, and you know, you can see it a ton in here. It's just getting kind of murky. I'm going to try and just quickly kind of brush it off of the edges of the fabric. But that's why I want that second bowl of water, because we want a final nice clean. So this is my fresh water. I mean, look at the difference. One's pretty goopy, and this one's nice and clear yet. So I'm hoping that I can just kind of get the rest of it to kind of shimmy off in this water. And that's looking pretty good, I'd say. Great, so I'm just going to let that sit here for a moment. I just have it on my towel right here. Sit there while I check on this guy. So he's been in here for a little bit. So all the main stuff is off, but you can see there's tons just everywhere else. So we got to do this little massagey over the whole thing. Oh, that would be amazing, Robin. So Robin on Facebook said, "Oh my goodness, my husband just looked at my phone and asked if Alyssa is doing pottery. It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? I'm like making this nice yellow bowl right here. Ugh, I'd like to do that sometime. Although we did that in like art class in like, I don't know, was that even high school? It must have been high school. I don't know. High school or junior high. But I remember it being so difficult. I just don't think, I mean, maybe my hands are a little bit stronger than they were in high school, but like I just couldn't get, you know, the pot centered very well and all that. But I'd love to give it a go. I would actually freaking love a kiln, like what you put the clay in to harden and heat up and dry. John and I actually have been, every once in a while, it'll come up again, like, oh, it'd be so fun to have a kiln to kind of just like make little mini sculptures, kind of like the like those thread fellers that I have from what is it, the what is her brand name again? Fish Museum and Circus? Not Fish Museum. Is it Fish Museum and Circus? The fish part sounds weird. But anyway, like some of those cute pincushion guys that I have, just like making cute little sculptures, cute little characters. I could see making those, and maybe just like some hand-formed mugs or whatever. That's been kind of on a crafty back of the brain agenda for years. So maybe someday we'll get a little kiln and some clay and putz around with that. All right, I think that looks plenty good. All right, let's get our final little dip in the clean water. Make sure that we don't have any hiding on the sides or anything, and I think we're looking pretty good. So I'm going to stick that on my fabric here to my towel, and I am going to get these dirty bowls of water out of the way. All right, one more. Like, look how goopy that got. All right, let's just wipe up our mess quick with the towel. So the towel has more of a purpose than just just wiping this up. So I'm going to get my pressing mat here now, and I'm going to actually set the towel on here. And this is how I like dealing with my finished embroideries. So typically they're still wet because I'm doing the stick and stitch method pretty often. What I want to do is use a fluffy towel, and the reason for the fluffy towel is that I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to press right on top. And, you know, like this one where I have all the pretty French knots that are 3D, I don't want to smash those with the iron. So by doing it on a towel, a fluffy towel, it's just going to sink into the fluff, and we're not going to flatten all our stitches. So let's just do this. So I have my iron is all heated up, and I'm just going to squish right on the back, and you should hear that sizzle. We're basically pressing it, we're steaming it, and we're getting all of the moisture out of our fabric. So I'm not like letting this air dry overnight or anything like that. We are just doing Oh, the Fish Museum and Circus, oh, is that what it was called? Someone said it here. Oh yeah, it is Fish Museum and Circus. For some reason because we're penguin and fish, I thought like, oh, it can't be fish. I must be mixing that up. So I was confusing myself. But yeah, her shopping cart is crazy because her stuff is in so high demand that you have to have everything ready to go to buy it. Like your credit card has to be all in there and everything. Because she makes all these by hand, so she has a limited amount, and they're very popular. So they sell out immediately. So you have to, like, several people can have them in the cart at once. And it's like whoever checks out first gets it. So yeah, it's frustrating, but you do feel lucky when you do get one. So you notice I'm not pressing the same place. You can actually kind of see where I pressed. That's because this is actually wet now, because we squished all the water into our towel. So not only is our towel protecting our knots, like our pretty 3D stitches, it's sucking up the water. And I mean, these are like almost just like perfectly dry. Oh, I'm so happy we got those dates on here. All right. So people had problems with their embroidery thread bleeding when they were using the stick and stitch? Is that what you're saying, Kimberly? Typically, good quality embroidery floss or embroidery thread does not bleed. If people are buying their embroidery floss from places on Amazon and then stitching with it, not all those Amazon places are, they don't all like guarantee to have nice floss. Actually, if you've ever looked at embroidery stuff on Amazon, there is tons of stuff, and a lot of times it's super duper cheap, so it feels like a great deal, but it's not always the best quality. So that sort of stuff can bleed. I'm gonna get down here again, you guys. And typically it'll be like the really kind of juicy colors, like it'll be the reds, the really bright blues, and maybe like the browns every once in a while. But again, if you have a decent quality thread, like DMC doesn't bleed, or it shouldn't. Our stuff shouldn't bleed either. Our penguin and fish thread. But it doesn't have to do with the stick and stitch. It would have to do with the quality of the thread. Is what I suspect, Kimberly. All right, so there we go. So you might see if we did get this wet and we did kind of putz around with it. So your stitches, like for like this thread, might not be quite in the right place anymore, or you might want it a little bit tighter. My little just kind of quick trick for that, and this isn't like the most amazing perfect solution, but I just go to the back and I just kind of tug on the backs of the stitches a little bit, because it'll tighten up the front stitches. I think that was kind of my little cheater way of, oh there, see, now these all look a little bit better. It's kind of my little cheater way of cleaning up our long stitches there. So that one I could probably shape up a little bit, but these look much nicer. So that one looks good. Yeah, these ones we could tighten up too. So I'm just going to go to the back. We'll give a little tug on some of these little stitches, and they'll be good enough. you can kind of place them too, and just kind of let them, you can get them like a little damp and then let them just kind of dry in place, kind of like your, what's that called with knitting? When you, oh gosh, what's that called? Where you knit something, but, oh, block. It's called blocking. So you could kind of do that. You could kind of get the thread a little bit wet again, and then just kind of place it exactly where you want it, and then let it air dry, and it'll stay there. But that helped. I just pulled the little threads in the back a little bit, and it tightened up our big long stitches, and they look great again. So there we go, you guys. That is our embroidery of the month for January. I love them so much, and I really like having the date in there. That makes them feel like so special, I think, to me. Here's that other one, my little baby machine. This one's gonna have to hang up by us here, I think, especially since I'm using that machine. I like that. And then I'll never forget the date, because I always can't quite remember. So, all right, you guys. Awesome. So I am so happy with this. I'm really happy that we had time to stitch those dates in tonight. Now I gotta figure out like what we should do with them. So we could, one of the things we could do next week is come up with like a cute way to frame them. We could frame them in a hoop and make like a really cute back for it maybe, or could try frame it in some other way too, like an actual frame. That would be kind of interesting. I'll have to think about that a little bit, but that is another thing we could do next week potentially. But I do think next week, to start off on Monday, we will attempt I'll have to prep for this somehow, because I don't know how I'll do the measurements yet, but we will do that sewing in a circle thing. I've seen a couple people doing that lately, so it must be a whole new thing that people are trying to give a try. I saw Vanessa from Crafty Gemini. She was doing it as well. One of those circles within the square that's actually sewn and not appliqued. So I want to do it too. So I think I'm going to find one of our embroideries, and we'll kind of put a circle. We'll do our embroidery with a circle around it, or the embroidery in the middle of the circle, and then put that into a bigger square. And I think, why don't we go ahead and make it into like a pillow cover or something right away? Make it into an actual thing right away. That's we don't always do that, so that would be nice. That'll take a couple days next week. So we'll start that on Monday. And Monday we'll also be doing a fun giveaway by sharing videos and stuff. So and we might, if we get enough shares, then we'll do more than one giveaway. So just keep that in mind. And that means you can share on YouTube too. So you don't have to be on Facebook if you're a YouTuber. You can share there as well, or on the Facebook main page, the Penguin and Fish main page. I don't think, just because if you're sharing in the group, I think since the group is private, it won't like spit that out. So anyway, these bundles will be available for these guys through the end of January. So that's just like another week here. And then February Embroidery of the Month is coming out. The t-shirts, so I got my little t-shirt on here. These will stay in the shop, I think, so we'll keep these in. But you can grab one of those. They go from extra small to 4XL, I believe, but they're kind of nice, just a little black, simple black t-shirt. My mom got hers today, and she was happy that it was kind of longish, so that's nice. I do like that as well. So anyway, that's it. Have a great weekend, you guys. I'll be excited to come sew with you guys again on Monday. So have a great evening, great weekend. Good night.